Oi, oi, hello everyone. It's Friday night here in England, and it's a bit old school, isn't it? We used to go at this time all the time on a Friday. We're back to it. Don't worry, this isn't a solo show. Gianni is joining us soon. He's just touched down on the tarmac and is rushing to find Wi-Fi, so he will be here soon. Don't fret. Thanks to everyone that has jumped into the comments so far. CH. Mark, Offcore, you're the first one through the door with Geddy, Eddie, all the usual crew. Malaki, I see you coming in. Matthew, hello everyone that is joining us early on. CH says, love this time slot. Yeah, it suits some of the American crowd a lot better than it does others. It has been quite nice sometimes not having this on a Friday night because it means you can plan stuff. But it is actually quite cool to be doing this on a Friday. And there's probably going to be some old faces popping in along the way. I'm good. Thank you for everyone that is asking. You'll see there is a poll running already right now. Make sure you do vote because I am interested in this. We're getting a runaway leader, though, already. Who will your captain be for game week 27? That's what we want to know tonight. It's a bit of a dilemma, to be fair. Not judging by the results at the moment, but I think Haaland, Saka, Son, Watkins are four really good options. So I'm going to go through all of that in a second before G gets here. And throughout the show, we will be taking your questions, making sure that we cover everything we possibly can ahead of a game week, which doesn't begin until the traditional 3 p.m. Saturday kickoff, which is very rare, isn't it? But there's loads to get through. Let me just see a couple of the comments that are coming through. Where's your shisha, Dean? Well, actually, sorry, 1 second. Like G hadn't ever tried a shisha. I've never tried it either. I'm not sure I would have either. Quite at this stage of life, it's kind of like quite a claim that I've never smoked at all, like at all, never smoked anything. Like alcohol, yeah, sure. Smoking, no, I've never gotten there. So I think I'm going to keep it this way. But yeah, loads going on tonight. As I say, do come into the poll to let me know your thoughts there. At the moment, Haaland is the runaway leader as the guy that all of you are going to be captaining this week. Look, I put these guys up into the poll for good reason. I think they're all legitimate claims. So you've got Haaland, who, as I say, has the runaway leader right now on 78%. He plays against Manchester United on Sunday afternoon. Fine, he's just scored 5 goals against Luton Town, and he's got Kevin De Bruyne teeing him up. That's great. Then we've got Saka. He plays against Sheffield United, and it's on Monday. And I do like that fact that Saka doesn't play until after everyone else. So you've still got that bit of hope right at the end of the game week that your man is going to do the business. You've got Son. He's playing against Crystal Palace on Saturday at 3 o'clock. So out of these guys that I'm talking about here, he's going to be the first one to actually play. That might go against him, I think. And Watkins plays against Luton in the 5:30 game on Saturday. Son is actually the one that you guys aren't picking at all. He's got 2% of the vote at the moment. Look, when it comes to these guys, I want to just run through like the pros and cons of them. No British, I'm not on my own. Gianni will be joining us very soon. He's just landed. He's taken a flight. It was delayed. He thought he would be here by now. He says he will be here soon. So don't worry, you haven't got me on your own for too long. We're going to just do the captaincy bit. And by the time we get out of this, I reckon G might be with us. I'll message him if not, and we'll check out his status. Hopefully, you don't have a full hour of me. That'll be quite dire for all of you. Adam says, based on Haaland last season against United at the Etihad, I can't go against him. Any other week I might have done, and that Luton display. Wow, yeah, he's learned to kick the ball even harder, hasn't he? Look, only Sergio Aguero has scored more Manchester Derby goals for City in the Premier League than Erling Haaland. Aguero has 8. Haaland has 5 already. Man City have scored in each of their last 54 home games in all competitions. Man City are scoring in this game. There's no way they're not scoring in this game. 54 games in a row scoring at home. That is absolutely ridiculous. The second guy in my ranking, proper Ranks FC stuff, this is Saka, right? At the moment, is he second? Yeah, he is actually. Saka's got 16% of the vote at the moment. Saka's a really strong option in my eyes. Arsenal looking to become the first side in English League history to win 3 consecutive away games by a margin of 5 or more goals. And Saka has scored in each of his last 5 Premier League games, and he scored twice in each of his last 2 away from home. And let's not forget, Sheffield United have lost their last 2 home league games 5-0. This genuinely could be a 5-0 again for Arsenal. And if that's the case, Saka is going to be back among the goals. I can't believe that I was so against him during this run. I was wrong. I admit it. Third up, Son. He's been involved in 10 goals and 15 Premier League appearances against Crystal Palace, 8 goals, 2 assists. So he probably is going to return in that fixture. And then the other guy that we've got listed in the poll for captaincy is Ollie Watkins. 14 goals, 10 assists. No player has been involved in more Premier League goals this season than Ollie Watkins. So these are all really strong options. And I'm sure there are plenty of people that are getting all 4 into their lineups at the very least, and then trying to figure out exactly what to do with captaincy. But it looks like Haaland will probably get it from most people. Paul says City will beat United, no problem. Haaland will score. I just think Saka will score extra points for the clean sheet and a goal. Yeah, it's a good point. Obviously, Saka comes in as a midfielder. That does make a difference. Craig says, Son, honestly, I don't know what to expect from Palace with the new coach. Actually, I don't know what Spurs team will show up. Look, I don't think I would be backing Crystal Palace, especially right now. They've had one game where they were played for an hour against 10 men of Burnley. Don't think you can really read into that too much. I doubt that Glasner has been able to do too much of an overhaul of this Palace team. I'd be pretty confident that Tottenham are going to score. I don't know if they'll necessarily win, but I think that Son is a very strong candidate to score in this game week. And yeah, I'd be wary of going against him. I've held on to Son, so I'm quite happy that I have got him as an option this week. British says he has brought in Son for this game. Adam says Saka will be involved, but the points are spread across the team. I did have captaincy on Saka before Haaland at Luton. Yeah, I mean, that is a big swinger, isn't it? The 5 goals that Haaland gets against Luton, KDB back in the swing of things. It's funny because the game before that, when De Bruyne came in, I thought he looked weirdly lethargic. Wasn't himself. But I watched an interview with De Bruyne this week, and he was talking about the layoff that he had, the longest layoff he's had. And he was saying it actually has been good for him to actually have some time to recuperate and think about the game and have some time to himself and do things that he likes to do. He's like, in my life, I typically have a match, 2 days of recovery, another match, 2 or 3 days of recovery, another match. There's no time for him to reflect on what he's just done or think too much about what he's about to do because it's a constant rotation that he's in. So that is very interesting. If I was to put forward a 5th candidate for captaincy, it would have been Kevin De Bruyne. The results are in from the poll. Haaland wins. 81% of people are going to be looking to captain Erling Haaland in this game week. So that is a pretty strong indication of what people are going to be doing in the game overall. Martin says, would I bench Bowen or Palmer in this game week? Look, first and foremost, I am devastated that I didn't trust my gut and bring in Bowen last week. When we did this stream a week ago, I was saying I really fancied Jarrod Bowen as a good option for my team. And I was swayed by the crowd. I ended up bringing in Hwang and I ended up bringing in Pascal Gross. I took a -4 and took in those guys. And I regret it. So that's where I sit in that view. In terms of what I would do with these guys for this game week, it is tricky. Let me just get my team up here. It's not loading properly. I was going to see whether I could actually get Bowen in. But yeah, to just remind of the fixtures, like Bowen is up against West Ham. Up against Everton. West Ham are away in that fixture. Cole Palmer away to Brentford. They're both good options. I mean, personally, given that Bowen's coming off a hat-trick, I think I would go him and put Palmer on the bench. But yeah, we'll have to. I really don't think there's a lot in that call. So my hunch would be go with Jared Bowen in a moment like we are in right now. Huang flopped, says Geddy. He absolutely did. 24K Will says Fulham will most likely score against Brighton, Dean, right? Yeah, I would say Fulham probably will score. But only Sheffield United have failed to score in more different Premier League games this season than Fulham. So there is a warning sign there. But Fulham did find the net in all of their 4 league games in February. So we do seem pretty trustworthy at the moment. I'm interested to see when Brozier starts playing. It's a bit of a weird situation here. Brozier came in as the guy that was going to lead the line for Fulham. Since he came in, Muniz had come in and he's been a revelation. Muniz has started more games for Fulham since we signed Brozier than he had before Brozier arrived, which is madness. Of course, as Dean's only streams work, I'd watch more. Thank you, mate. It's not easy actually talking to yourself, but you guys are helping. Keep your comments coming in. Keep your opinions coming in. Gianni will be coming in at some stage. I don't know when exactly. I haven't got time to message him right now, but he did say he would be in around this time. So I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt that does indeed happen. Muniz looks like a baller, Ding. I tell you what, Mark, he hasn't. He hasn't. Not until the last few weeks. It really is like he's a different person. It's bizarre. Genuinely, look like a championship footballer for most of the time he's been at Fulham. And suddenly, I don't know if it's been rattled by the fact they signed Brozier. If he realised that like his time at Fulham would be coming into a close if he didn't up his game. But he's got better movement about him, better strength. He's getting shots away clearer. Hit the post against Man United. Muniz is a decent option actually as an alternative third forward, I think. If you're looking at having 2 main strikers and thinking who your third might be this week, say you're worried about Solanke, Morris, Ivan Toney. I think Muniz probably comes into that bracket as players that you would have to consider in terms of who to take. Right, Eddie says, Dean, who would you get in for a Charlison? Yeah, Son. I think it's probably where I'd be going instead of it. Oh, here he is, the main man, suntan and all. Geez, with us.
Oh, mate, how are you?
Okay, mate. It was going all right, actually. A few people said they prefer it without you. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, it was going all right, mate. How are you and where are you?
Are all our chasers in? Yeah, they are. Good to see you all. I'm in sunny Brentford. One of my favourite Premier Inns, the Q Bridge Premier Inn. Hey Heather, hey CH, hey Matthew. Hello everyone. Yeah, my ears. You know, you come off a flight and your ears didn't properly pop and you got that fuzzy feeling.
Yeah.
I've definitely got it. So I yeah, I don't know if I can fully hear or I'll be fully engaged, but I'm definitely with you. And do you know what? The whole flight, I've just been on like an 8-hour flight. It was delayed, so we're stuck on the plane. I've been thinking FPL the whole flight.
Oh, wow. You must have a lot of thoughts over the course of a long flight.
Well, yeah, because this transfer for me this week is pretty much this is gonna determine my chip strategy, what I do this week. And you know, chip strategy for me is like huge. And I was so set on one theory of like trying to avoid the free hit in game week 29 and dead ending and wild carding out of it and then free hitting 34. And loads of you guys watching are probably thinking, yeah, maybe the same thing. But now I'm thinking buy players for now, sort my defense out, forget about game week 29, free hit in 29 when there's only 8 teams playing. And then don't worry about 34 because it'll probably be a rubbish double anyway.
Yeah.
Get a few doublers and then bench boost 37, but wildcard just before it. Pretty much what I'm saying is wildcard and bench boost would be so lovely to use together. Wildcard 1 week, bench boost a week after. So you've got those 15 fit players that you know are playing for clubs with something to play for at the end of the season, all playing twice the week after.
Yeah.
15 players playing twice.
Yeah, that's a great shout, actually, isn't it? Certainly something I might have to consider. Our producer's telling you to try yawning and your ears will pop.
I'll be yawning anyway.
I didn't realize, like, so every time I yawn, right, anytime my ears pop, right, anytime, any sort of yawn, my ears pop, and I thought that happens to everyone,
Normal.
and it happened, and then like 3 years ago, it came up in a conversation around the table, and someone said, "Oh, it's weird, but every time I yawn, my ears are popping," and I was like, "Isn't that just what happens?" And they're like, "No," and then I was like, "What? Oh, I've got some like weird thing going on. I need to get to
that
the ear."
doesn't happen. That's not normal. I don't
No, I
think.
need to get to the old ear, nose, and throat. But yeah, Adam says, hold your nose and blow. Like, I cannot do that. Like, anytime I blow my nose, I have to be really careful because my ears pop every single time I blow my nose. I'm going to end up deaf later in
That
life.
level of pressure doesn't feel healthy.
Yeah, absolutely. And to be fair, sometimes my ears really, really hurt when on a plane. So it does make a lot of sense. Before you came on, mate, we were chatting captaincy options. I put forward 4 candidates. I mean, it won't surprise you who they were: Haaland, Saka, Son, and Watkins. Haaland got 81% of the vote. 81%. And I have to say, it is an obvious pick, right? Because he just scored 5 goals. He's got a good record in the Manchester derby. But Saka against Sheffield United on Monday night in a game that Arsenal are going to win 5-0 is being overlooked, isn't it?
If Haaland hadn't have gone and scored, did he score 5 in the week or 4? 5 against Luton.
5.
Sorry, I know my internet's laggy. I've just signed up to the premium internet. This should work, but
Okay.
£5. Sorry, £5. 5 goals made me, and it was £5. Yeah. Definitely changed my thinking. Like, I went into the start of the week thinking there's a good chance I go Saka. There's maybe a slim chance I go Watkins, and Haaland, yeah, he's probably 50%. But then I saw Haaland go bang all those goals and was like, okay, yeah, that momentum's just dangerous. And seeing how United played against Fulham, Dean, like, I think Fulham, you know that you watched this, like so you told me on Monday or Sunday night, Fulham were so dominant. So after that stream, I just checked out the numbers. I was writing a report, a feature on it, and Fulham had 17 attempts. 17 attempts at Old Trafford. Like, not many teams, like, that's how much United are on the ropes. Fulham had 17 attempts. How many attempts are City going to have? 35? It's doable. 35 attempts means 4 goals plus. And if it's 4 goals plus, that's at least 2 for Haaland. I've got to
That
go
is
there.
a good point. I mean, no word of a lie, Fulham should have scored 4 goals. Like, Iwobi scored a great goal to win it for us. He had 2 attempts earlier on in the game that were probably easier chances that he didn't take. Muniz hit the post. Hit a header. I can't remember who it was that didn't take their opportunity. I take your point. Like, obviously, like, I'm going to be captain Haaland. I am. I haven't got Saka, so like, I need to figure out if there's any way I can fix this Arsenal dilemma I've got because I haven't got any attackers. But yeah, I don't know. I just especially imagine you've got Saka up your sleeve because he's playing Monday night, and Haaland's only scored once against Man United. That's a nice feeling. It's a nice feeling. I don't know. I just feel like if you've got grounds to make up, that there is some positives to take in taking up Saka, who's scored twice in each of his last 2 away games, and Sheffield United always lose 5-0. But yeah, British says Dean hasn't got Saka. I haven't got Saka. You guys know that. I've been saying it for the last 4 weeks that I didn't rate him. It was one of the worst calls of all time in FPL. But yeah, he's obviously he's looking good at the moment. I haven't actually run through injury news yet, so we'll do that in a second.
Dean,
Go on. Okay, I don't know if G's frozen there or if it's just on my end. I'll keep talking. I think G's disappeared for a second. What I was just about to say, I saw a list today of Premier League offsides. Erling Haaland, I don't know if you guys have seen this, you probably have, has been offside once this season. Once. So when you get in those moments, where, like, say it does go to VAR, and you're like, well, it's not. If it's Haaland, he ain't offside because he's never offside. So here's the stats, right? Son's been offside 16 times. Saka's been offside 7. Jarrod Bowen 15. Ollie Watkins 10. Solanke 11. Mo Salah 8. Erling Haaland 1. One time. How?
What about Darwin? He must be like 21.
It wasn't on this list. Darwin was 57.
That's like 58.
But isn't that crazy? Like, he's only been offside once all season. I was like, I tell you what, that's quite nice to have in your back pocket for those moments when it goes to VAR if it's an offside call. You think he's only been offside once all season. He ain't going to be offside right now, is he? So yeah, I found that quite interesting. Injury news, obviously, there's quite a bit to talk about. Solanke, we should probably start there.
That's a huge one, mate. That because everyone's got him, or like, I bought him in last week, so. You obviously have to keep him because he's got a double next week, and I'm sure he'll be fine for next week. Does he make this week though? There's a good chance he does still. Like, we don't know if Iraola's one of those managers that keeps his cards close to his chest. I'm guessing he is.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see the point in him giving much away. It doesn't surprise me that if he was a doubt, he wouldn't have played in midweek anyway. Great opportunity to leave him out.
Yeah.
You're playing Burnley away. If Solanke, he's being talked about as being possible, so that means even bench potential, like Solanke coming off the bench to play against Burnley if Bournemouth need to turn that game around. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I think I still start him. I think I'm still going to start him. I mean, it helps. It will mean I don't make a transfer this week. If I do, it'll mean Lascelles is my only sub, but he's got Wolves at home, so I'm not too. You never know, actually. Like, Wolves without two of their best attackers, Cunha and Hwang, like, Lascelles might actually be a bad idea for a starter, to be honest. So I think I'll probably start Solanke, and I don't want to get rid of him because I think it would be a big mistake, knowing that if this ain't that bad, he's going to be playing next week and we all want him for the double.
Yeah. He's going to be our captain next week, mate. Like,
yeah,
I'm sure of it. We're all going to want Solanke in our teams, and there'll be some out there that probably plan to buy him this week. If you're one of those managers that plan to buy him this week, knowing he had a good fixture and he plays next week, you probably just hold a week and you buy him next week and you just double check that. But I'm with you, Dean. I think he features. Whether it's from the start or not, I'm not sure. I might be faced with having to bench him because I've got a bit of a benching headache. And now he's a minute's risk. It probably makes sense to go there. CH says, someone said, am I chewing gum? And I'm trying to eat because it's helped my ears. And CH has absolutely called it. She says, I'd say he's eating British fish and chips. Driving to the Premier Inn from Heathrow, I was like, if I pass a chippy, I'm pulling over. I passed I'm one of those really annoying blokes that goes, if someone tells me something's going to be 5 minutes, I'll get my stopwatch out. And I'm like, if it's not under 4 minutes 59, we're ready by 4:59, like, you've lied to me. So don't use the term 5 minutes when you mean 10 or 15, which 90% of people do, and it really irks me.
That is annoying. Yeah.
So I walk in and go, how long are the fish and chips going to be, mate? Just chips. Like, just want some chips. And he goes, 3-4 minutes. I was like, great. I've got to be on a call by 9:30. So 3-4 minutes would be great. And I'm there and I'm like, okay, it's been 7 minutes. And he's like, yeah, they just need a couple more minutes. I was like, take them out of the fryer and I'll have them as they are. Like, I don't mind if they're a bit raw. I've paid for them already, but if you don't take them out of the fryer, I was like, just forget about it. Don't worry about the £3. I've got to run. So he takes them out of the fryer because I insist. I'm now eating raw chips.
Are they not cooked? Are they not good?
Serves me right. They're not the best. They're far from the best.
Mate. But that, not being funny, 7 o'clock on a Friday night, a fish and chip shop shouldn't be low on chips.
I know. It's
I waited all week for this moment. This is like the peak time for people having fish and chips. Like, unless they've just had like, yeah, this is like the hour you need chips. Oh mate, what a killer. British says, yeah, hates that as well. Linus says, I don't know who to sell for Solanke next week. I own Haaland, Watkins, and Tony. Yeah, well, that's going to be a bit of a dilemma for sure. Haaland, Watkins, and Tony. I mean, I wouldn't be getting rid of Haaland or Watkins really. So probably Tony. I'm just trying to remind myself who Tony's actually got next week. Brentford got next week. Arsenal away. Yeah, you can get rid of Tony next week. Although he's going to be joining them next season, so maybe he wants to prove a point. And actually, there are a few whispers now that Arsenal were having a few thoughts around whether they actually do go for Tony or whether they look elsewhere. And I know that the Tony interest is real. I've heard some good information around it and how far that's actually gone. So like the interest is concrete, but there's still plenty of time for them to change their mind. But Ivan Toney goes to the Emirates, scores 1 or 2, and suddenly he's back in those plans, isn't he? Craig says, "Man, I miss those London fish and chip shops." Mustafa, best Bournemouth defender according to you? I mean, yeah, this is the big one, isn't it? That's coming up.
I might be buying a Bournemouth defender this week, so this is a really good question. I'd say I am buying a Bournemouth defender. I don't think there's any might about it. So
Gianni showing his chip strategy. I like that.
Oh, you've just written my tweet for me. Thanks, mate. I'm taking a photo of CGA with the chips, and now I know that. I would say Bournemouth. Right, Senesi is the obvious one, and everyone will caveat that with, yeah, but he's got 8 yellow cards. Get to 10 yellow cards before your 32nd match of the Premier League season. So what's that? Another 5 games for him ish, and he gets a 2-match suspension. So is it worth risking Senesi? I mean, he has picked up 8 yellows in the 20-odd weeks he's played. Like, clearly, he averages like a yellow card every 2.5 games or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But when a player is on 8 yellows and they know a 2-match suspension's coming, Dean, they play a bit differently, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, Palhinha didn't for Fulham, but yeah, most people.
He was the first to get the 10 yellows, I think.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me at all.
Senesi's on 8, but Senesi is the only Bournemouth defender that's got like attacking returns this season. Like, but they're all cheap, so it doesn't matter. I'd say Neto though. If you're looking for a goalkeeper transfer, Neto at 4.6 million, he's probably better than any of the defenders. But if you need a defender, Zabani has played every minute of the season so far. I don't think he's registered a single goal or assist, but if you're just there for clean sheets, and you should be, because Bournemouth are going to get at least 1 clean sheet in the next 3, if not 2. Burnley away, Sheffield United at home, Luton at home, and then Everton at home. In the next 4, they could get 3 clean sheets. Like, good fixtures for Bournemouth. And they're a good defence.
Yeah, no, that's a good shout. I hadn't really contemplated the idea of bringing in Neto. I mean, obviously, I've had 2 rubbish goalkeepers for the entire season, so I don't want to change that really. But Neto in for Dubravka could be one, but as I said before, like this is a time when actually having Newcastle defenders might not be a bad idea. Eddie says, Gianni and Dean, I got Richarlison and Hwang injured. 1 free transfer, 4.3 million. What do I have? Estupinan, who minimal risk. I mean, Estupinan is a bigger risk than that, isn't it?
I'm selling Estupinan. Like, he's just, you can't. He actually did start in the week for Brighton. Lamptey was out, and his heat map was great. It was back to where you expect him to be playing, but it's just no banker for minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously started this from talking about injuries, and he mentioned Richarlison there. Tottenham, with on paper like a reasonably good fixture this weekend against Crystal Palace at home, but no Richarlison and no Pedro Porro is what we are expecting from that game. A shame on Porro because I was cautiously optimistic he might be back in time for this one. It's not going to be the case, which is a shame. But Richarlison, I mean, would you get rid of Richarlison at this point? I mean, because where's his opportunity going to come now? I mean, it's a tough one because he actually did quite well, didn't he? He was quite well, better than quite well. Like he was really done all he could. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's just not knowing what you get from him now, because when he comes back from an injury as well, there's never that faith in him that it's totally gone. I don't know. I just don't like using Richarlison as unless he's like 100%. Chat Sport says Richarlison to Bowen. I mean,
or to Son. It's one of those two. Like, Bowen's obviously flavour of the month off a hat trick, but Son is now Richarlison out for 2-3 games means Son number 9.
Yeah.
Most forwards, when they play number 9, you go, ugh, Palmer, Sterling, Rashford, they're all weaker. Son's
Yeah.
strong playing number 9 in this team. If we go off under Ange, he's stronger playing number 9.
Yeah. I think what we'll see from Tottenham as well as we move forward with this team is that they'll want Son as like the central figure that the attack's built around. And then they just, if you think what Liverpool have, right, and what they've typically had, it's like 5 options
Yeah.
that can all work in different, alternatives. And I think that's what we're heading towards with Tottenham. When you look at the kind of players that they're signing and the ones that they're linked to, the way they brought in Werner, they got Kulusevski, Brennan Johnson. And now there's talk, like, even think of Antonio Nusa when they looked at him, and might even look at him again. I think the Son's always going to be that central figure, and then Richarlison and all these others will have to figure out their way around him. I'm not even 100% sure Richarlison will be at Tottenham for next season. I've got a feeling he might end up in Saudi Arabia, but yeah, I think there's a good chance. Yeah, and I think Saudis are looking to go big again, and I know that Richarlison's one that they've had their eye on. And if Tottenham get the chance to even get close to getting their money back on that man, I think they would have to take it.
Yeah, I reckon now they would happily just get their money back.
I think they probably would, because it's going to be the only chance you get to do that. And yeah, unless Ange sees something in him that I don't feel is important enough personally, I think you can take that money and I think you can reinvest it in that team. How about Kulusevski? I want to get him, says Al Koji. What do you think of Kulusevski? I mean, it would feel a little bit left field of me, but
it's hard because when you look at Spurs, getting the right Spurs mid, if we're picking between Son, Maddison, still like early season form was amazing. Kulusevski or Richarlison, but if Richarlison's out, we can probably actually put Timo Werner in the mix because he'll be starting. Because it means Son number 9. On the left, we're going to see Werner. On the right, we're going to see Kulu, and then the 10 we got Mads. So there's 4 Spurs attackers. If you're going into game week 29 with free transfers and not free hitting, you're very likely going to want 2 of them. Because in Spurs and Aston Villa are the only good teams playing in 29. You're going to have at least double of both those teams, maybe triple. And if you are free hitting in 29, like I think I'm going to be doing, then again, I'm going to want 2 or 3 of them. Even without the free hit in 29, I still look at it and go, Spurs have got good fixtures either side of that. I want someone like Son now. So Son is my number 1. Maddison would be my 2. Kulu would be down in 3. But one thing we know about Kulu is the manager loves him. He does get the minutes. Like there's no risk there.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, there's Spurs are linked with Philogene from us. Yeah, I've seen that link. Obviously, he scored that amazing goal earlier on in the season. No, it's from us. He must be a Hull. Ofcom must be a Hull supporter.
Yeah, I saw that goal. I saw that goal. It was out of this world, wasn't it?
Yeah, massive prospects, and we know that that's the profile of player that Tottenham looking at when you think of like Nusa, who was an 18-year-old. He was a lively, wide man. Punter says, what to do with Alvarez and KDB, and do they start against Man United? It's really difficult to know. Sorry?
KDB has to, doesn't he?
KDB has to, doesn't he? And I mean, Alvarez, it'd be harsh on him not to start him in the Manchester derby, given he started pretty much every other game across the course of the season. But, it is about getting the balance of that team right for that fixture. Obviously, they have to watch the minutes too, and Alvarez has had a lot of minutes across this season. I mean, it's KDB above Alvarez, isn't it? I mean, I don't know how owned Alvarez is at the moment, but I imagine it's starting to fall off a cliff a little bit.
It was a Tuesday game against Luton, which was good. Because when I saw KDB got 90, I was like, oh, you've gone from playing no minutes at all to now getting 90. Does that mean you benched the weekend? But then I looked at the spacing and I was like, oh, good. It was a Tuesday game. And then I was like, oh, good. Man City play on Sunday. That's enough recovery time. And if Foden's in the 11 and KDB's in the 11, and I'm confident both those things happen, then I do then question, is there space for Alvarez for that fixture?
Maybe not. Nick says, Brennan Johnson better than Timo Werner.
No, he won't start. Timo Werner will start, mate, on the left-hand side. Brennan will be on the bench without Richarlison.
Yeah, you might be right there. Barrow Lewis said, "You've thrown me here, lads. I normally plan my lunch breaks around you at work." Yeah, Barrow Lewis, if you're in England, mate, you might have a second lunch. It's 8 o'clock now, but don't know what you call it. It's even later than dinner, isn't it? I mean, you're trying to have your dinner while we're doing the show, but try that, Barrow Lewis. Go pop out and stick this on your phone and go and get some chips. Danny B says, "Start Branthwaite, Moreno, or Estupinan." Branthwaite seems like a good option.
I like Branthwaite's fixtures moving forward as well, especially for those that perhaps aren't, well, some that will be wildcarding next week or some that will be wildcarding in 31. If I'm on wildcard, Branthwaite's straight in my team. Like Everton, good defensive numbers. He has a bit of goal threat. He's dirt cheap. And Everton will keep plenty of clean sheets. Like I like that Everton defense. Pickford's been the best goalkeeper this season. Like Everton are a good back line. Yeah. Konza, we had a question on as well from Lucid.
Yeah.
I don't. He's returned to training. I don't know if he comes straight in the 11.
Yeah, I think Powell's still a doubt, isn't he?
Yeah.
Someone else was as well. So it's impossible to know, to be honest. I wouldn't bank on it, that's for sure. I'd leave it at that right now. If you have other options, I'd probably be planning on them instead. Best 2-week punt in midfield.
If you go for 3 fixtures, if you're looking at next week, obviously, you guys are all familiar with this. It's Bournemouth-Luton on a double, right? So if you buy Bournemouth or a Luton player, you're getting 3 fixtures in a 2-week punt. Now, 3 fixtures for Bournemouth you won't get a better set of 3 fixtures. It's Burnley away, and then it's Luton and Sheffield United at home. Like, if there was a standout Bournemouth midfielder, and about a month ago there was, you would just go to Tavernier. I can never say his name.
Yeah.
He hasn't been playing well in the last few weeks, and he has had a couple of early subs, including one, I think, at 45. Right. But he is the best FPL pick because all the others, Sinistera, Clivert, they come in and out the team. Like, they're not 100% safe. And then you've got the centre mids who you're not interested in buying a Christie. I mean, if Alex Scott started every week, it'd
be nice.
So I think I'd be tempted to go on the cherries and go for a bit of a differential there. But, you know, I think Son this week has a really high ceiling. What do you make of Palestine? The new manager did a clean sheet in his first game.
Well, he's playing 10 men of Burnley. You can't read anything into that at all. You can't make radical transformations to that Crystal Palace team because there's just not much to do with it. Mark Gahey is now out for weeks.
Is he?
Yeah, I think he's undergone some sort of surgery. So Palace are going to be without Gahey for a while. Like, I think that's hugely significant.
Yeah.
Palace aren't suddenly going to be a team that can play a different brand of football because they haven't got the depth and the options to do that. They'll still be hugely reliant on the likes of Eze and Elise when they're available. I think it's very limited what you can actually expect of Glasner. If he's going to try and go to Tottenham and show everyone a new way of playing, then I think he could get a bit of a hiding, to be honest with you. So, I couldn't read. I watched the game, and obviously you're a bit buoyant if you're a Palace fan off the back of it, and it's the ideal start for the manager. Yeah. I didn't really take too much away from it, to be honest with you, because
it was 0-0 after an hour as well.
Yeah, exactly. And it was, for me, it was, I treated it a little bit how I would treat a pre-season game. Interesting to see how they're setting up, what they might be changing, but ultimately it counts for nothing until we see them in a tougher fixture, which is this week. This is when we'll get a bit more of an idea of what Glasner's capable of tactically, and whether he can go head-to-head with someone like Ange, who was this week named London Manager of the Year.
I don't quite get the Ange. I think he's a good manager.
How did he get London Manager of the Year when Arteta's just done that across the course of a year and he's only been here for 4 months?
The disrespect. Arteta gets so much disrespect.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Didn't Cole Palmer get young London Young Player of the Year? Yeah. Anyway, those awards ceremony seem like nonsense to me.
Cole Palmer's was fair though, wasn't it?
How's he London Young Player of the Year? He's only just got to London. He only got here in September.
Yeah.
That's got to be so. I don't know. I didn't think that deeply about it. I was just a bit surprised that he could be that much better than every other young player in London in the course of three months.
What about at
Right, we
Manchester?
got about we got about 15 minutes left of the show. Are we going to do our teams?
Yeah, let's do our teams, and then we'll
Yeah,
get back to a few of Loverdean rants and
yeah.
CH. Love that. Guys, just very quickly, I saw some good questions. I'll just give you 10 seconds. Allison is still out, Danny B. Yeah, and Kelleher is a great shout if you're looking for short term. Luke's looking at going Hwang to Son. That is the template move this week for many. Hwang, we don't know if he's going to be back the week after. So, Dean, you've got Hwang. Though Gary O'Neill hasn't said. I don't think he's put a timeline on his. I think he said something like,
He
"We're not
didn't
putting
know.
a timeline on his return." It's like, oh,
I'm going to
great.
hold on to him. Yeah, I'm going to hold on to him.
Nice
I might.
fixture against Fulham.
Yeah, I might not even make a transfer. Yeah, because they got Fulham at home next week. I don't think I'll be making a transfer this week, to be honest, mate. If I can get a full team out and have Lascelles as an option if Solanke doesn't play.
Yeah.
I'm tempted to let this run. Let me just see. Actually, let me get my team.
Would you look at a Bournemouth player? Because next week, if you have 2 frees, you're probably going to buy at least one Bournemouth. It's a dreamy double game week. That.
Yeah, true.
You could go early on one of those Bournemouth players now.
I could go early on one of them. I mean, obviously the two players in this team that definitely aren't playing this game week are Pedro Porro and Hwang. I'm a bit reluctant to sell either because if they are both back soon, then I'm going to want them back in, I think. Look, and Porro's got Villa and then Fulham. So, yeah. And then obviously Solanke up in the air. I could bring in a Bournemouth asset for Lascelles or Bradley, maybe. I don't know what I gain from it really. Like this, I don't know. It's a tough one. Adam Dino hyping up some for Saka for captaincy, and he doesn't have him. Yeah, I've said it all along, mate. I think Saka is too late for me now. Like I've missed it. I didn't trust him, and he'd been out of form, and he came back with a vengeance. And I'm not on the boat, and I can't get on it now. So yeah, that's passed me by.
Also, Saka, I know it's a really good fixture this week. And Brentford at home's not a bad one, but then don't forget it's a blank game week followed by Man City. So for those 2 weeks,
yeah, absolutely.
Now bad entry point. If I was big man, I'd be saying entry point. So yeah, the best.
Cyclopath says play growth for Hwang. Yeah. Like this isn't obviously like this was just a screenshot of my team from yesterday. Pascal Gross is obviously playing. Hope he doesn't return because he's playing against Fulham. But the chances are that if Brighton do score, then Pascal Gross is involved in that in one way or another. And seeing as I brought him in with Hwang last week, I want to get some value out of that. So I don't feel too terrible, even more terrible about the fact I didn't pick Jared Bowen after saying he was going to be a great pick. So CH says save the transfer. And to be honest, I probably will. Let's have a look at your team, Jay.
Yeah, let's have a look. Pascal Gross. I was looking at the Estupinan heat map from midweek. Pascal Gross played DM by himself in the week. I was like, oh, Pascal Gross literally plays 10 positions. It changes. So he's playing defensive mid, or like did cross the halfway line, but yeah, he'll still find an assist.
Yeah, exactly.
We're both going big on City. Like you've got Triple City, I've got Triple City. I'm confident with my Triple City this week. Oh, guys, do remember to hit that like button and subscribe if you're new around here.
Yeah, good shout.
Liverpool's fixture the week after. Originally, I was thinking, yeah, that'll be when I sell my City assets. But Liverpool City is often quite a goal fixture. Like that could be 3-3. Therefore, I think City players for that fixture might be all right. I don't like really Man City then because it's a blank and then it's Arsenal. And Man City Arsenal, I think, will be a much cagier game, Arteta versus Pep, than Klopp versus Pep. Historically, the Arsenal City games with those managers have been low scoring, and the Liverpool City fixtures have been high scoring. So I want to keep the 3 City. My plan, I guess, I could go He-Chan to Son. Let me know what you guys think in the chat. If I go He-Chan to Son, then I'll be benching Solanke, which is dangerous because if Solanke does start, I mean, it's a brilliant fixture if Solanke starts.
Yeah, that's the thing.
So I could just leave it, not go without Son, By the way, I've got the exact funds. I think I've got 0.1 buffer to go Hwang to Son, but Son does go up in price tonight. So I could make the move tomorrow morning, but I'll have no money in the bank. So if you are buying Son, guys, buy him tonight. But I know I do want Son long term anyway, so maybe I just bite the bullet on that. Bench Solanke. I still need to make a defender transfer. Like, could I start Taylor without, if Solanke doesn't play? Maybe Taylor does have a chance of a clean sheet, but Burnley are just so bad. I feel like it's worth taking a -4 and just getting a Bournemouth defender in.
Yeah, it's an interesting one for sure. Someone just asked a question actually about whether to bring in Doughty for Estupinan and take a -4 on it. I mean, knowing that Luton have got that double, I guess it gives you a bit more faith. But taking a -4 this week when Doughty's playing against Villa, I don't know what your returns are going to be. I mean, look, the one thing I do like about Luton and really do admire is their spirit. You know, they're definitely not billionaire bottle jobs, are they? That they put in a proper fight every single week, and even in midweek against Man City, they got themselves back in the game.
Yeah,
and I was like, I really admire that in this team. Obviously, they're now in trouble because Everton have got some points back, and that's plunged them into a bit more of a difficult situation. But Doherty, obviously, a bit of an outlet. It's interesting. Of course, there's Luton remind me of Blackpool goal fests against anyone. Yeah, their games are actually really entertaining, aren't they? Would you do that, Doherty? Would you take a -4?
I think I would, especially if I wasn't free hitting in game week 29. And if you look at 29 and go, oh, that gets me an extra player out, then yeah, absolutely, I'd do that now. Again, like for cover in 29, yes, Aston Villa and Spurs have the best fixtures because they're the best teams, but that ain't a bad fixture. Forest at home, like, yes, they'll probably concede, but there's a chance of goals there. Like Forest just went to Villa and conceded 4, didn't they? So yeah, do I think a Estupinan starts? Absolutely not. So yeah, I would be selling a Estupinan even on a hit this week, and I'd be going to Bournemouth, but that's if I'm not on a free hit 29, or I am on a free at 29. If you're not on a free at 29, then Luton would make sense because they have that additional fixture.
Yeah, and there's a funny message from British who said, "Why can't the stream be longer? Is it a legal thing?" It's not a legal thing. Yes, in mind, G's contracts that we will not sit here for longer than an hour. No, we just had to
We
do an
did
hour.
on Sunday, though, didn't we? Was it on Sunday? We just completely lost track of time.
Sometimes we go 10 minutes added time. Sometimes you get a bit more out of us. Typically, our brains are fried after an hour. So we just try to set the boundaries, British. It's nothing really much more than that. And to be fair, it's 8:20 on a Friday night. We've had a long week, especially G. Been flying all over the place. Craig says, why not Barkley from Luton? He's so good. He's so good. And he is coming up with a couple of assists, and he does have a goal threat in terms that he's got probably more ability from range than almost anyone in the league, apart from the likes of Odegaard and KDB, to be fair.
Yeah, good point.
It's just not quite enough.
He doesn't have all the routes to points that someone with in a different team, Barkley's on penalties. In a different team, Barkley's on set pieces. Like if he was on corners, free kicks, and pens, and he's on none of those things at Luton, which is quite surprising actually, because he takes a good pen. He was on pens at Chelsea for a little bit, and obviously he's got great set piece delivery. But Doughty's even better. So yeah, you just don't have the.
What do you reckon Barkley rocks up with a bigger team next season? Because they have never exposed how long Ross Barkley signed for. Like we knew he signed and all that.
1-year deal with if they stayed up, like some sort of trigger or something.
Yeah, but haven't even said it was a 1-year deal. They didn't say anything. All the terms are very, very hush hush. And I just think he's been so good that it's either he goes to the next promoted team, rocks up at one of those three, or even somebody that's down there already thinks, do you know what? Like, he's going to give us a bit of an edge.
Like a I was going to say Forest, but they've got too many players. Wouldn't he get into the West Ham team though, Dean? If we're thinking above that level, like I'd start him over Ward-Prowse at West Ham.
I mean, he'd definitely be a good option in the rotation for West Ham. Thing is, like, he's probably loving being the best. Of course, there's Barkley. I can see at Brentford. That ain't a bad shout, to be fair. But
Yeah.
Brentford build their teams a bit differently, typically, because they go for the data. But I did obviously go for Christian Eriksen when he became available, and they made a go of that. So possibly, Michael Scott says Fulham. I don't know. Is he really fit with? We've got a lot of midfielders.
It's interesting though, because we go Barkley's great, and we're right to really admire him, especially of late. But this is a guy that got a good chance at Villa, like Chelsea loaned him to Villa. He's had chances. Like, I don't know. I guess when he went to France, was he playing for Nice or something? I think he did quite well.
It was at Nice, yeah.
He has had chances.
There was rumours that he's going to go to Man United because the owners at Nice already signed him once, and now they're the owners. They're Ineos are opposite Man United. It's like, oh, Man United might sign Ross Barkley. I don't think they will. Right, let's get for a few questions because we've only got a little while left, much to the dismay of British. Right, Animation says, is Salah worth it on a wild card this week? I mean, Salah will not be playing this week.
No, he's definitely not Animations. I get it because it's like, oh, if you're wild card and you get ahead of the game. No. Have money in the bank so you can move to him when he is ready. If you really want to build a wild card around Salah, but don't bring him in this week. Set yourself up for a transfer.
Luke says -4 to go from Diogo Dalot to Zabani.
I think that might be my I mean, not Dalot out, but I think that's my Bournemouth defender of choice, knowing he plays 90 every week, and I just want clean sheet points. Like, Senesi feels too risky, although it is only 8 yellow cards. It's not like he's on 9, but I don't know. What's your take there, Dean, with Senesi's, with your risk appetite to go to the better, because he's not even more expensive, like he's 0.1 more, and
I think I'd just take him.
Would you? You'd risk the yellow?
I think so. Yeah.
2 yellow cards in the next 5 games. It's possible, but it's not.
It's possible, but like still, if you can get those.
Though.
Yeah, no, I understand the fear factor, but sometimes you've got to gamble. Vincent, is it worth taking a hit to bring in Gabriel? I'll be playing Charlie Taylor otherwise. Just need a clean sheet to break even and can potentially enjoy the attacking upside with a free hit coming on 29.
I don't mind that.
Don't mind it at all.
The best by a country mile in the league. Like, when you see the data, it ain't even close. In the last 6 game weeks, I think their expected goals conceded is 2 point something. The next best is City at 6 point something.
Yeah, they're playing a team that have got no hope. Matthew, do you think Dubravka to Neto for a -4 is worth it if my other keeper is Areola? Areola's got Everton this weekend, so I think Dubravka and Areola are both actually one of the few weeks I wouldn't be too worried about either of those two. I know you get an extra game out of Neto, but Dubravka facing a Wolves team that haven't got Hwang or Cunha, and Areola facing an Everton team that are okay but not great.
Who would you start out of those two, Dean? Because I've got those 2 keepers. I'm just going with home advantage and going to play Dubravka.
Yeah, I'd play Dubravka out the 2. Yeah, I'd still play Dubravka. As I say, I think that Wolves, look, they do surprise, so maybe they'll be fine. But that's 2 big players to be missing for a game like that for Wolves, and they don't have the same goal threat. Before we get to that Warren one, I just want to flash up Rick Starr, who says, boys, is the captain of Hudson-Odoi the wildest punt you've heard this year?
Oh, God.
Rick, what are you doing?
That is wild. Like, not captain and Nottingham Forest player is wild. Hudson-Odoi has been playing well, but Gibbs White and Alanga probably a bit more reliable. I mean, look, it's fun.
Also, is it this week when he's playing Liverpool?
Yeah, Liverpool at home. They're the home team, but Liverpool, yeah.
I mean, I know like Liverpool are weakened at the moment, but
is he playing on the left? He is, Hudson-Odoi, and Alanga's on the right. So he's going to be up against Bradley, who will attack. So maybe he likes to match up. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. It's pretty wild, Ricky. I'll give you that.
Go Ollie Watkins if you want to go rogue. Ollie Watkins against Luton is a brilliant shout this week, and no one's going to captain him. They're all going to go.
Yeah,
I'm going Haaland.
Yeah, Hudson-Odoi does seem a little bit unnecessary. Warren says, play Darwin or buy Solanke for a -4. Don't buy Solanke this week, just in case. Just play Darwin. He's back. He's going to play. Darwin's going to play against Nottingham Forest because, well, they ain't got
need
much
him.
choice and he's fit.
Yeah, definitely. And then look, and especially I wouldn't make that for a free transfer, let alone a point for here.
-4, yeah.
Matty Cash is a good differential shout versus Luton. Yeah, but no, probably. But he is definitely at risk, Matty Cash, now Konsa's back training. Remember, when Konsa got injured, he was playing right back. So at times, Emery will choose the more defensive Konsa over Cash. This week, I think Cash is good for a start. Moving forward, he might be a sell.
Yeah, James says it's Solanke 50-50. Yeah, that's probably a fair way to put it. Yeah, he was involved in training. They wouldn't say whether he was definitely going to be involved in training tomorrow, but there are good indications that he will be. Harry says, hello again, guys. I really want Son playing striker. Should I do Eze to Son and therefore miss Eze's Luton next week? Or do Foden to Son and miss his Man United next week? Eze move will mean I bench Solanke.
I would. What's Eze's status? Is he back?
Yeah.
Will he start against Spurs?
I think so. Yeah, it was spoken about that way the other day when I spoke to someone. I haven't checked today, but that was the impression I got.
Yeah, I would still I wouldn't be selling Foden. Put it that way. I think Foden's like Foden against. Didn't Foden get a hat trick against United a season ago? I'm sure. Wasn't our friend there? Charlie was there, wasn't he?
Oh yeah, Charlie was there. Yeah, that's true. Did he get a hat trick? I can't remember. I watched too much football. I can tell you what happened when I was 8 years old and what games I watched then, but I couldn't tell you what happened like 3 weeks ago in football. It's starting to get old. Right, what do you guys make of week wildcard 28? It's really starting to appeal more to me.
I don't mind it at all, Sean. I don't like wildcard this week because your City players have got a good fixture and blah, blah, blah. But you could bring City players out next week, go big on Bournemouth, still cover yourself in 29. I'm not completely ruling out a wildcard 28. I don't think I'll do it, but I'm not ruling it out. I'm going to leave it open. I'm likely, though, committing to a chip strategy of free hitting in 29. I think I'm going to have to.
Yeah, we got confirmation Foden did get a hat-trick, so did Haaland, and Ever even had Foden in that game week, which must have been very enjoyable. Matthew says, I'm thinking about replacing KDB and Foden for Bowen and Son for 2 free transfers and no free hit for game week 29. What do you think about that? Replacing KDB and Foden for Bowen
Not
and
this
Son.
week, Matthew. That moves I like next week. Getting rid of City for Liverpool, okay, even though I think there'll be goals, maybe you can sell. But KDB and Foden could feast. We see Man United on fixture tickers and we see Man United on paper written down, you go, tough fixture. I can't tell you how bad they are, guys. This is a bad defense. This is one of the worst defenses in the league at the minute. Like, other than the newly promoted teams, like, sure, Burnley, Sheffield United, Luton. But other than that, Newcastle, Man United, shocking defenses at the minute.
Yeah, it is true. Right, last couple of questions before G can go and enjoy the glamour of Brentford. Start Tavernier, Palmer, or Gross?
Palmer is.
Yeah, I haven't got him now.
So good. He's London's best young footballer.
Even in 5 minutes. KDB and Richarlison to Son and Maddison for -4. No.
Sell Richarlison, but not Kev. Kevin De Bruyne is going big this week. He's finally going to reward us owners who, by the way, have had to watch him haul in the Champions League, 4 assists in the FA Cup. I'm fed up of KDB looking amazing outside of the Prem. Well, this is his week to get Premier League points. I'm back in, Kev.
Yeah, the only thing I'm worried about is his hair, because I did see an interview where he said his hair is starting to annoy him, how it falls in front of his face while he's playing. But he's been told he looks younger with longer hair, so he's going to keep it. He might need a headband. He might need a Jack Grealish headband.
Oh God!
Sure. He cannot have.
See him with one.
He cannot let his vision be affected by his new locks. But yeah, he's going to have to do something.
Especially when we're talking about the best vision in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Guys, make sure you're hitting that like button. Likes have been a little bit lower this evening, so do subscribe on your way out as well. CH said, "Oh, do you do it earlier?" So it was like, "Are you doing an hour so Gianni can jump on his channel?" Guys, originally I was thinking it would be nice to do a stream on my
You're
channel
shattered, aren't you?
week. It just wouldn't be good content.
No.
And the worst thing is, I now need to sit and spend another half an hour just finalising my moves before I even go to bed, because I think they're going to be Son in for Hwang and bench Solanke. Maybe that's probably 70% I'm going to do that. And I'm almost 100% going a Stupinan out to a Bournemouth defender.
Very good. That was all that thinking time you had on the plane, wasn't it?
Yeah. And then next week, if Areola and Dubravka still, I look at and go, I can't see myself holding them for the next 10 weeks, I might jump ship to Neto. But let's see how Neto plays this week if the Bournemouth keep a clean sheet against Burnley. So, yeah. Cool. Guys, thank you so much for watching. It's been lovely spending our Friday evening with you guys. We'll be back probably next week at our more normal time of 1 p.m.
Who knows?
Dean, what are we doing on Monday? Is there a game? I feel like there's a game.
Yeah, it's a big game, mate. It's Sheffield United against Arsenal. So we've got a big game to come on Monday night. So we haven't really done any forward planning about this, but I guess
that Tuesday then, you think, or
probably doing a Tuesday stream, I'd imagine. Yeah.
Because it's Saka and co, and there'll be a load with triple Arsenal. It might be worth us doing.
There's no point doing a show before we've seen the Arsenal fallout and how many goals they've managed to score. So I think we'll probably be doing a Tuesday. Vincent says, "You two have been absolute legends of the game. Thanks for everything you've done for the community. Guys, like and subscribe if you haven't yet. Please do spread the word for us as well. If you do enjoy this, and you know other people do that on your social channels, tell them to come and watch us. Get our numbers up. That'd be handy."
Yeah, cheers, Vincent. We appreciate that. Good to see Sykes, Path and Warren. Loads that perhaps just watch for the hour and don't do many comments. Always come in at the end and say thank you. Likes of Wesley. So thank you, guys. Adam as well. Really appreciate that. And yeah, for now, Warren too. We will be back on Tuesday. For now, though, he's been Dean, up in Gianni. You lot have been the amazing chasers. Thank you for coming and being with us on your Friday evenings. May your arrows be green, and we'll see you next time.